Okay, in order for us to analyze the data from the data bank, so imagine that you are done already with this data bank. If you conducted already your study and you already retrieved the result, an example that in this variable, our satisfaction, example, this is the satisfaction of our respondents, and these are the answers. If you want to present the data, you can present that using this example. If the variables are age, gender, and working status, you can present this in percentage form, and then you rank the result. Or if you have the questions like this in Likert scale, you can also present that using the weighted mean as practice. However, some others also practice that they don't use the weighted mean, but they present as to how many percent are who answered 7, who answered 6, 3, and so on and so forth. However, that should be analyzed question per question. But as to common practice in research, especially if it's about Likert scale, some of the schools or some adopted the use of weighted mean. And that is our target on how to do that. Example, in your research problem, your first statement of the problem, because in the analysis of the data, you should be guided that you cannot simply make or provide table or any data when it is not being asked in the problem. Example, if your first statement of the problem is, what is the profile of the clients in terms of, okay, example, your first profile is you want to know the age. Second, if you want to know the gender. And then third, if you want to know the working status. Okay, so let us just stop here. We will just analyze first. That's 1.1, and this is 1.2, and then we'll have 1.3. We will just analyze the profile first before we go to the levels or the extent or the Likert scale. So if you go back to your data, if you remember, you have here again what is the this is a statement of the problem. What is the profile of the client in terms of age, gender, and working status? If you go back to your data bank, these columns here, we have the gender, the age, gender, working status. And these are called the profile of the respondents. Now, let us look at the age. If you notice the age here, if you highlight that and in the Excel, you can see the count, the sum, and the average. But what is important is you are going to identify, you copy that, you should identify the highest and the lowest, and so you can make a range. So you can present it properly. Example, how do we present the age? That is if your age is like this. So sometimes there are studies in which they don't ask the respondents to put the age directly, but they will just simply identify the range of the ages, and the respondents will just check as to where they fall. So that's why they don't need to convert that to scale. But in this case, we have no scale, so we convert that to scale on range. And we have to identify the highest and lowest. So in this case, you can sort that first. So from largest to lowest. Okay, you continue with the selection. The highest is 52, the lowest is 33. So you have here the highest score. We call that is S. And our highest score here is 52. And we have to identify the lowest score. And we call that as LS. And our lowest score here is, what is our lowest score? It's 33. But you have to identify the range first. And the range is actually the highest score minus the lowest score. And how to do that? Look at the given. So we subtract the highest minus the lowest. Okay, so that's the range is 19. Now you have to identify the number of scales, meaning you have to identify whether do you have 4 scales, 5 scales, 6 scales, depending on your literature background. Example, as you notice, 33 and 52, you can divide this into 4, or you can divide it into 3 or 2, depending on the name of that scale. But there are researchers who do not care about whether it's a middle age, or it's early adulthood, or late adulthood, or they are in the adult age and so on, or in the teenager's age or whatever. Okay, so if that is not your concern, then you can decide. Example, you decided that you will just have 5 scales. So your interest now is to know the interval. And how do we know the interval? The interval is determined by dividing the range with the identified scale. And this depends, the scale again depends on the intention of the researcher. So that is range minus, this is the range minus number of scales. Okay. So in this case, it's 3.8. But since it is a whole number, so you can round off, you can round down or round off depending on your intention. But in this case, I prefer to round off to 4. So we can start here from the lowest. Our lowest is 33. And then plus 4, so it's 37, plus 4, it's 41, plus 4, 45, plus 4, it's 49, plus 4, it's 52. Okay, and then you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can stop here, 52, in order that you will stop with the 5. What happened here is we extend to 6 because we round off it. Sometimes it will not reach to your desired number of scale. It may be less than 1 or more than 1. Okay, so in this case, before 37, you can put 36. Before 41, you can put 40. Before 45, it's 44. Before 49, it's 48 and 52. Okay, it's okay if you want really 5 scales. So meaning you can have 33 to 36. So we call that as age bracket. So we can say this is the age bracket. Okay, and then you have to identify the frequency. Then after the frequency, you have to identify the percentage or the percent. And then you can rank them, so you can analyze which is the highest. Okay, so this is now our table. So this will be presented in chapter 2 if ever you are done with this analysis. So don't forget to check to write the total so that you can check the total. So F is the frequency, so I can write here frequency, and P is the percentage. Okay, the frequency refers to the times as to this age fall within this bracket. Example, 33 to 36. From 33, if you highlight that to 36, all 36 here. So you can see here count, it's 15. So you can put here 15. And then 37 to 40. So you start here, 40. These are the ages that fall here, 37 to 40. So there are 5. You don't need to count that manually. And then 41 to 44. But what falls here? Nothing. So 0. And then 45 to 48. How many? There only 5. And then 49 to 52. So therefore, it's also 5. Okay, so you have to get the total. So equal sum, the Excel command. So you don't need to do that manually. Or if you want, you can do that mentally. It's very easy. Okay, so the total is 30. So to get the percentage, you have to divide the frequency divided by the total, which is 30, and then multiply it with 100%. And then you can have this 50%. You can have decimals, okay, 2 decimal places if you want, and then you do that. No, you have to drag down, meaning this happens that 5 divided by 30 times 100 and so on and so forth. So as you notice here, if you want to get the total, you can check whether your percentage are correct. So that still be 100%. So which is the highest? So this is rank 1. And this is, as you notice, supposedly this is rank 2, this is rank 3, and rank 4. But they are equal. You cannot have them different rank, but they have to be the same rank. So what you will do is the average between 2, 3, and 4. So what is the average of 2, 3, and 4? It's 3. Meaning 2 plus 3, 5 plus 4, 9. Divided by 2, 3, and 4. Divided by 3. What is 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the rank is 3. So instead of 2, 3, 4, you put a 3, 3, and 3. Therefore, since 4 was the last in rank, instead, this is already the 5th rank. So in other words, the last in rank is the last according to the number of scales. So this is now your table. We call this as percentage, no, using the percentage formula. That will answer for the age. How about for the gender? Example, if you have your data here, gender. Okay, so I will just copy also for the working status. Copy. And you can have it. That is already for the age, and then you can have here the gender. So as you notice, the gender, there are only 2 gender. Okay, so you can copy this. Okay, so as you notice, I copy that format of the table. Copy here. I will just erase the data so that you will not be confused. And this is actually the presentation of the data. So you can put here the gender. And what are the genders? So the gender options are, you can have male, which was 1 in the coding. And then you can have female, which is 2 in our coding. Okay, and then don't forget to write the total. So you have to count now here how many 1 and how many 2. So what you will do in order for you to facilitate easily, you will just arrange that from highest to lowest. No, from largest to highest. Okay. Continue with the selection. So how many 2? Okay, there are actually 12 2. So meaning 12 female in this case. And then how many 1? Of course, there are 30 all of them. So there are actually 18. So 18 male. And then the total is equal to the sum. Equals sum. Okay, this one. Okay, that's still 30. So you just put that here to check the percentage. So to get the percentage is the frequency divided by the total times 100. Always times 100. And 2 decimal places is 60. Okay, and 40. So if you notice, the lower part already directly check the value. And we know that our answer is correct. That is for the gender. Now, how about for the working status? Okay, so we are going to analyze the working status here. So how does it differ with this gender? So what you will do is you will just also copy the format table and then put it here and then just change the data by counting what is in the actual data. So what happened to the status? It's yes or no, remember? So meaning they are working means 1. Okay, or they are not working means 2. Okay, and the total. So you just have to arrange this again from highest to lowest so you can see and count directly how many 1. So there are 11. 11 who said yes, therefore it's 19 who said no. And the total is, what is the total? 30, of course. So what you will do again is equal. So you can copy this like this. No, for as long as you can copy that here automatically, it will give you another value. Look at this one. And then if you say 30 is the sum of 11, 19, you try to add that and it's 100. So that your computation is correct. So therefore, this is rank 2 and that is rank 1. And that is how to present the data when the data is the profile. It's the profile. Now, how about if the data is the weighted mean? Example, that's the first is OP. As you notice, there are 3 tables, 1 for the age, 1 for the gender, 1 for the working status. Sometimes, they want to put them in one table. So what they will do, they will just copy that. I will try to give you an example as to how to put this in one table. And then that's for the age bracket. Then they will just copy the gender. Copy for the gender. Put it here. And then copy for the working status example. Put it here. So what happened? Oh no, I'm copying the same gender. Working status. I'm sorry, I did not change the gender. So you change that to working status. Okay, example. So in that case, this is now, so you have to format this. So instead of putting that, you don't need, but what you will write here is the gender. So you can merge that example. And then you can merge that in order to have good outlook of the table, the format of the table. And then this time is the working status. Okay, so therefore you can delete the frequency. Why you don't need to put that again? Because it's already found there at the top. Okay, and then merge again. You find time to format the table so that it is pleasant to the eyes. Okay, and then you can already show the lines there. So this sometimes this one table, you can name that as profile of the respondents. So example, you can say table 1 is profile of the respondents. And that is, and this table will now be used in the chapter 2 for the presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Okay, so you can read 1 and this is 2. That's it.